Yo, what is up, y'all? My name is Robert Donaldson, and welcome back to another edition of Rob's Best Bets. And in this episode, we are once again talking about college basketball conference tournament futures, and this time we are focusing on the Big 12. And so far, out of the 7 conferences that have either completed their conference championship game or are planning on playing in it on Monday here, we've had 5 teams of ours on our futures markets that have competed or plan to compete in those conference championship games. That's a really, really great ratio. But the first 3 teams that we saw take place, Winthrop, North Alabama, and Bradley, Bradley was DOA. So that one kind of felt like, whatever. That was a good shot. Obviously, they made the championship game, but they didn't come to play. But with those other 2, Winthrop, a 15-point second half lead, and they just ran out of gas. And then North Alabama had the lead with 3 minutes remaining, missed a ton of free throws, their best big man fouled out, and that one did not come to be either. But hey, we got our Sunbelt future on Monday, we've got our Furman future on Monday, and if we can cash both of those, we're up on the futures market. Even if we just cash one of them, we're sitting in a good spot. So that's really important. And when you're looking at the Big 12 here and this 16-team bracket, it's a massive one. We've got some single buys, we've got some double buys, and it's very important to note this is a tournament that takes place in Kansas City, Missouri, which if you kind of know the area and you kind of know the landscape of this conference, I'm sure you kind of know who's going to have the home crowd and the home edge. It's going to be the Kansas Jayhawks, as they always do, and this is also has been aimed south for Iowa State as well over the years there too, so expect really strong fan contingents from both of those programs. But when we are looking at the viable teams in this conference, let's go ahead and start at the top with Houston, then let's go to Texas Tech, then Arizona, then BYU, then Iowa State, then I would say Kansas, and 7, I would say Baylor, and that would be my cutoff line to win the Big 12 conference tournament. West Virginia was right there on kind of that fringe, but they are just not deep enough, I think, to run the gauntlet, especially with Houston knocking on next. And, maybe a long shot like a Kansas State potentially could be viable, but I'm not willing to put them on this list because they are the ultimate wild card, and I have no idea what to expect from them. But hey, let's go ahead and jump into our first long shot future on the board here, and that is going to be the Kansas Jayhawks. Like I kind of said, they always have the strongest fan contingent in this building in Kansas City, and when you're looking at their odds this year, these are the longest odds that we've seen on the Jayhawks to win this thing, maybe ever. And obviously, it is justified when you are looking at their expectations, how they fell short, and even some of the games that they dropped down the stretch, which are very uncharacteristically against what the program has stood for over the past couple decades. But, they have been playing better ball as of late, in my opinion, and I do think that Bill Self kind of issued a wake-up call prior to this last game against Arizona, where they showed up and ended up kind of beating the Arizona Wildcats for most of that game. It kind of felt like they could have even ballooned that up to a 20-point margin, but it ended up getting a little bit tight near the end. And when you're looking at this draw, whether it's Utah or UCF coming out of that first game, I think they're going to be able to rout that team. And then they have those Arizona Wildcats in a game, which again is going to feel a lot like a home game. And when you have Bill Self going up against Tommy Lloyd, I'm willing to bet on Bill Self, especially with how his team has been playing down the stretch. And that side of the bracket, we're going to get into it next, but I say we go ahead and place our first future on the Kansas Jayhawks for 1.5 units. And again, this bet isn't to win 1.5 units. This is to win 19.5 units. So place your bet accordingly to that. That's how we are able to leverage the equity on the back end of these futures. And I really do think the Kansas Jayhawks could supply us with a ton of value in this conference tournament. All right, pick number 2. Let's head out to the top side of the bracket where we have the 5-seeded Iowa State Cyclones. And this is a team that I think we're also going to be catching a lot of value with because during the back end of their season, they dealt with injuries to a lot of their starters, whether it was, Curtis Jones, Keyshawn Gilbert, or Milan Momcilovic. And that kind of shaped, I think, a narrative around Iowa State that they were fading down the stretch, or maybe they peaked too early. And the reality is, I think they were just getting reindated with one another and kind of getting healthy again. And I do think that once Iowa State is clicking, and I think it could happen real fast, as in the first game of this conference tournament, they are going to be the most dangerous team in this field, because I think they're underseeded given the talent that they actually have on the roster. And their odds right now are 8-1. I actually think that they're the second best team on this side of the bracket, along with Houston. And for that reason, I say we go ahead and place 2 units on Iowa State, 8-1 our money to win the conference tournament. I really do think that this could be one of the candidates to make our conference tournament season. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to the bottom side of the bracket now, where we have the number 2 seeded Texas Tech Red Raiders. And I really do hate picking the 1s and 2 seeds in this conference tournament, because year after year, we tend to see a lot of craziness from the Big 12 conference tournament. But Texas Tech just plays a style and has a ton of talent that I think is conducive to winning on this draw line that they have, because whether it is Kansas State or whether it is Baylor, I think those 2 teams and those 2 programs are way down this year. And yeah, you know, Baylor could potentially make a run because of Edgecombe and the young talent that they have, and O'Meara down low, but Texas Tech can match all of those guys and then also have the depth to throw more at you than what they have to match. And I do feel like Texas Tech, if they do come out of the bottom side of the bracket, are going to be able to compete with Houston on a neutral floor, or compete with Iowa State on a neutral floor. And for that reason, I say we go ahead and place 1.5 units on the Red Raiders at plus 425. Got that over on DraftKings. And Iowa State, by the way, that was kind of an outlier line. Got that on MGM as well. But let's go ahead and place that for our final bet here in the Big 12 tournament. And I really do think that this conference tournament is going to be able to deliver for us. And I am so excited for this week coming up, because we have some fantastic conference tournaments, some really fantastic matchups, and a really great opportunity to make some money as we head into these national tournaments. All that being said, I really want to thank you guys for checking out today's video, and buckle up, because we have a whole marathon of these conference tournament videos getting pumped out over the next couple days, because we have our final conference tournaments tipping off over the next couple days. And we're going to have a video for most of those leagues. The ones that we don't have a video on, I will mention in one of these videos, and I'll also potentially even tweet it out that we're not going to have a video for those conference tournaments. But I appreciate you guys for checking out these videos and supporting them and sharing them and dropping comments down below. And if you guys continue to do that, I will continue to show up and make them. But with all that being said, y'all, I will see you in a future video. Take it easy.